I'm Eric Novak, and beside me here is the featured vehicle of my latest automotive review. It is the all-new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. Now, in the past, when I've said all-new in other reviews, I've, meant new, but with some carryover or some familiarity to previous generations. But when we take a look at this 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, we really mean all new. And on this review, I'm going to show you what I mean. So when saying that this is all new, we should probably start off by saying that this 2022 Outlander is the first vehicle launch for Mitsubishi following the creation of the Nissan-Renault-Mitsubishi Alliance. So you will also probably see when you look at this, this kind of looks familiar to me in another new vehicle launch. And if you're probably thinking the new Nissan Rogue, well, you're right. There is a lot of familiarity in the design, in the structure of this vehicle with the Nissan Rogue. But of course, we have, different design teams with the overall exterior look and feel of it. But it does start off by saying this is the first of a new generation of vehicles as part of this partnership. And when you look at this new Outlander, you also realize it looks nothing like the previous Outlander. This is the fourth generation Outlander, and up until now, it's really served almost a value utilitarian type of purpose. But Mitsubishi, clearly with the launch of this new look, certainly a far more refined, upscale exterior design. They're clearly trying to tell you that they want to move upmarket and move into that really highly competitive space where they really haven't been a player. They're going up against vehicles like the RAV4 or the Sorento, even the Rogue itself. So to do that, they really had to up their game. And I think so far with the exterior look of this, we can see that they have. There's a lot of new features and look to this that have changed dramatically from the previous generation. On the front end, we have to say that this front design is completely different. We have a sort of a three-tiered headlight system which extends as far wide as we can get. It gives it a sort of a wider overall presence. The front look, this new grille design, it really is distinctive. Some may not like it. I think it looks really sharp. The proportions of this Outlander, it is longer and wider than before. Funny enough, it doesn't seem that it's lower, but I have to tell you, the one thing I've noticed in the week so far that I've had it is in the entry to the second row. For whatever reason, even though in terms of specific specifications, it matches exactly with the Rogue, I just seem it feels a little bit lower. And I've actually bonked my head a couple of times getting into the second row, as have other adults who have ridden in it. That's an interesting distinction. I don't know why that is. It seems, again, it seems to be the exact same measurements as, say, the Rogue, and I never had problems with that when I drove it, but I did here. The back end, too, has got certainly a wider, newer overall look to it. With wheels, you'll notice there are 18-inch and 20-inch wheels available, but only on the base model will you get 18. So you're going to see 20s like I have here on this top end tester. So it is a bit of a differentiator as well, because you will notice them. But I really do like the overall look and feel of the exterior of this Mitsubishi. The rib sort of belt line adds a bit of sturdy aggressiveness to it. It really is more refined overall than it used to be. The 2022 Outlander is all new on the outside, and it is definitely all new on the inside as well. And what we see here is a much more refined, elegant, and let's be honest, upscale look to this, which is something that they needed to do, and they've done so quite well. This is the top GT trim, of course, but overall, just the layout it seems more modern, sleek. It has a kind of a minimalist look, which is very modern and on point. Highlighted, of course, with this new stitching on the interior. When they refreshed or updated the PHEV in 2020, they added this kind of cross stitching to the leather surfaces, and it looked nice. But in this one too, and I gotta admit, I mean, light, like this sort of off-white, this ivory leather color, it really does look sharp with the two-tone, the black and white. I mean, obviously it does tend to get dirtier quicker, so that's something to bear in mind if you're buying this for kids, but it looks really nice. Center console here, you're highlighted by the 9-inch display in the upper trim. There's an 8-inch lower on. Happen to notice that it was built-in Navi, which is something I didn't recall seeing in the previous, and I'm old school. I kind of like that. You still obviously can get your Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto. It's all functionally involved in this here. You move down, wireless charging for your smartphones, which is, I think it's becoming almost a standard expectation now, and it's good. I believe it's, I think only the base trim doesn't offer it, if I'm correct on that. You've got your electronic gear selector, which is the same as we saw in the Rogue. It takes a little getting used to, but you know, once you have it's there. It's not too obtrusive. You know, the addition of different drive modes here, of course, which is part of what an Outlander is. You have your eco, your normal, and different terrain settings as well. Auto park hold is great. I love that on stop and go traffic. I just put it on, give my foot a rest instead of holding it on the brake as well. The driver information display is LED and customizable. Yeah, different looks to it. We have our usual tachometer type of display, but I've been playing with different looks and feels to it this week, and it's just been kind of different. Overall, the dimensions are fine, but I gotta say, I know Mitsubishi talks about this as being a 7-seater, and it's designed that way, but I don't believe that this should be sold as a 7-seater. The third row is small, it's tight. It's for small kids, great, but when you have a vehicle, I mean, again, these are the same interior dimensions as the Rogue, and the Rogue is sold as a 5-seater. I remember the Rogue trying to do a 3-row version a few years ago, and I remember trying to drive with my family. I'm a father of 4, so I know about 3 rows, and it was really, really cramped. And I don't see this being a functional 3-row vehicle, because even if you put the kids in the 3rd row, whoever's in the middle row is probably going to have to move up a bit, and probably in the front row as well, and you're all just driving cramped. With cargo space too, I mean, if you took the 3rd row and used it, there's only 11.7 cubic feet of cargo space behind the 3rd row, and because of the sloped arching the rear, it reduces in the top. When I was doing my bin test, I tried to put 3 stacked grocery bins behind the 3rd row and close the lift gate. Because of the stacking and because it tapers in at the top, it refused. It hit the safety feature and went back up again. So then I took the 3 bins and put them 2 side to side, but putting 2 in one and just the single bin on the other, and the same thing. It would not secure. When I finally just put 2 side by side and removed the 3rd, well, then it did take. But it just goes to show you, it's functionally limited with cargo if you work it that way. Now, as a 2-row vehicle, I mean, behind the 2nd row, you've got 33.5 cubic feet of cargo space, which is excellent for a 5-seat mid-size SUV. Lots of functionality, and when you put the 2nd row seats down, you've got basically 79.7 cubic feet of space if you don't have the sunroof, and 78.3 if you do. I actually fit a barbecue, which I bought during this week, in the back with the 2nd row. Actually, I probably didn't need to put the 2nd row seats down. I think I got it in just with the back. So as I said here, I have to be careful. Earlier, I mentioned when I was talking about the exterior about the headroom. Now, obviously, with the skylight, the panoramic roof, your headroom is less. But I mean, I'm not that tall. I'm 5'11", and I'm basically at my head. I've had friends in here during the week who are just about the same height or a bit higher, and they were basically touching their head. And the low entrance way is kind of troublesome. So it's spacious once you're in, but it's a little bit tough to get in. This 2022 Outlander is powered by a single powertrain. It is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, puts out 181 horsepower and an equivalent 181 pound-feet of torque. It is not overpowering. Let that be clear. It does the job. Again, it's also the same powertrain as we have on the Rogue. So, but again, that's sold as a 5-seater. This is a 7. So if you are really loading up with 3 rows of passengers, and you were towing, because this does have a tow rating capacity of 2,000 pounds, you might be feeling a little bit wanting. I know the powertrain and the plug-in hybrid is larger, and could this use a turbocharged variant? Well, maybe, but this is what it is. In terms of fuel efficiency, this Outlander for 2022 has a combined fuel economy rating of 8.9 liters per 100 kilometers, which works out to 26.4 US miles per gallon. Throughout the week, I have been doing better than that. Actually, I'm at 8.2 right now, and I haven't done a lot of highway driving, so which would normally bring that number down. Because again, combined ratings are typically a ratio of 55 city and 45 highway driving in terms of percentages. So it's obviously better to do better than the posted 8.9. Obviously, if you really want fuel consumption, then it's the PHEV that you would be sort of angling towards. But in terms of what this is, the economy is pretty good. It really is hard to overstate how dramatically different this 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander is from its predecessor, because it really completely has changed the way it looks, inside, outside, the overall appearance, the way you would target it. I mean, this is a big change, and for the better. I really think that Mitsubishi, obviously, and they knew this too, they needed to bring up the game. It was no longer about value. It wasn't about dated technology with great all-wheel drive handling. I mean, you can only rely on that for so long. This became a more stylish, more effective, and more competitive entrant in the category. The only thing I have to really think they need to focus on and do better is to target this appropriately. I don't think this is really a vehicle you're going to look at for 7 seats. This is really something you're going to stick against. I mean, it's sort of stablemate. The Rogue, this is something you're taking that should take on the RAV4, the CR-V, a Santa Fe, a Ford Edge. This is the kind of vehicle. Don't try to make this a 7-seater. I mean, if you really want 3 rows, go larger than this, because it's really not effective that way. But overall, they've done a really great job. I'm impressed with where they've come so far with this improvement. I can't wait to see the new plug-in hybrid, but this is a new competitive entrant, folks. If you hadn't thought about the Outlander before because you thought, ugh, it's old, it's dated, look at it now. I think you're going to be surprised. That's it for this review. I'm Eric Novak. Thanks for watching. There's plenty of ways for you to keep connected with me, so check out some of my social media links, suggested videos, and I'd really love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel.